If you look into the release notes of Obsidian 1.9, you will notice something very interesting. It's called Basis. According to the release notes, this is a new core plugin that lets you turn any set of notes into a powerful database. With Basis, you can organize everything from projects to travel plans, reading lists, and more. Reading the release notes further, it says, Basis lets you create custom views to visualize and interact with data in your vault. You can filter your notes by properties and create formulas to derive your own dynamic properties. All the data in a base is backed by your local markdown files and properties stored in YAML format. To support Basis, we are introducing the base file format and syntax. So this is quite interesting. In short, bases are a database style view over your notes, meaning that each row equals one file in your vault, and each column equals a property of that file. You can view, you can sort, and filter those properties right in the table. So bases are not actually a full spreadsheet. You don't have free-form cells or pivot totals, but they are great for things like expenses if you create a model like one expense equals one note. In future videos, I'll show you how to build an expense report, but for now, let's cover the basics of this plugin. Let's just scratch the surface with very simple examples, so you can get started with this special plugin. First, we need to enable the Basis plugin. For this, go to Settings, Core Plugins, and search for Base. Then make sure you will activate it from here. Once you do that, you should see this icon to the top left called Create a New Base. And clicking on it by default will create a base file containing every note you have in your vault. You can rename it, you can filter by various things, you can sort, you can add or remove properties, for instance the created time of each file or the modified time. So Obsidian's new Basis core plugin lets you turn your notes into a database. Everything behind the hood is still just plain Markdown, but with YAML properties on top. Let's try a simple example. I have already removed the old files and folders, so we are starting fresh. The goal is to build a small set of notes, each one representing a car model, and then display these notes together in a table. Let's start by creating a folder called Cars. For now, it will just hold a single note as an example. Right-click, choose Create Folder, and name it Cars. Then right-click on this folder and select New Note. Let's call this first one Mazda. Now, to set up properties for this note, I just type 3 dashes. That opens the YAML properties editor. From here, we can start adding the fields we will need. First, let's add a property called company with the value Mazda. Next, we'll create a property called model and set the value to MX5. After that, let's add the year. You can keep adding properties one by clicking this button each time. However, we can add properties faster by switching to Source View, which shows us the raw Markdown file without the visual formatting. Here, we can type more properties much faster. I will add a few extra ones. Type, horsepower, price, and an image field with just a placeholder value. Later, I'll show you how to attach real images to each node, but for now we can keep it like this. Let's go back and make the value of the year to be a number instead of a string. By default, when using the YAML properties editor, the values are set as strings, but they can also be numbers by removing the double quotes. All of these are YAML properties, and Basis will read each of them as a column. So that's it. These YAML properties are now saved in the node. Now let's create a new base to display this file as the first item. Right-click the folder, choose New Base, and name it Cars. At first, the base shows every file in the folder. If it's created at the vault level, it would even pull in every file from the whole vault. We don't want the base file itself showing up, so I will add a filter. First, set it to only look in the cars folder, and then add another filter to exclude the base extension. Or you can just show up only the EMD files. That cleans things up. And if you'd like, you can click this button to see the filter code, which means you can tweak it directly with the filter syntax. By default, the information shows up in a table view, with one node per row. If we look at our file, each property can become a column in the table. To do that, go to Properties and click on each of the fields we defined earlier. Now they all appear as columns. You can also move columns around. For example, place the year in another location, move the model, and so on, to arrange everything the way you like. So here there are all the properties mentioned in the car file, showing up as the columns in this table. Renaming a column is easy. Just right-click on a column header, select Edit Property, and change the name. Let's add a capital letter here. Once you click outside, the change is instantly applied in the table. There is also another way to do this. Right-click on the base file itself, choose Reveal in Finder, and open it in a text editor or IDE. I am using Visual Studio Code to open this file. Here you can see the raw content of the base file, including the property we just renamed. Let's try another one. I will rename the model property. All we need to do is create a new node, type node.model, then add a display name, model, with a capital letter. Save the file, switch back to Obsidian, and you will see the change right away in the table. Let's go ahead and rename the rest of the columns before we continue. I have added more notes with more car details to speed up the process of this tutorial. But as a fast example, you can create more nodes based on a template. The template can hold initial properties and guide any upcoming entries. The process is quite simple. Create a new folder and call it Templates. Then right-click on it and choose New Node. Give it a name, and on the first content row, type 3 dashes to bring up the YAML menu. Then add the properties one by one. Company, model, year, type, horsepower, price, and image. Next, make this template available to Obsidian. Go to Settings, then go to Core Plugins, find the Templates section, make sure it is enabled, then click on its Settings, select the template folder location, which in this case is the folder just created, and then close the settings. Then every time you want to add one more car item, you can go to Cars folder, create a new node, name it, then bring up the command menu and type template. Select Insert Template and select the template itself, which will be presented to you as a suggested option. Once this is done, you can start filling up the information for each property. Next, you can sort your database by navigating to the Sort menu, selecting a property, and sort ascending or descending by using these two options. When dealing with number properties, the sorting options will be shown like this: 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. For the string type of sorting, you will notice two options, AZ and Z to A, which means AZ is ascending and Z to A is descending. We can also sort by clicking on each of the names of each column. Formulas can also be added. For instance, let's calculate the age of each car based on its year. Go to Properties, select Add Formula, name this new property, then in the formula field, type our current year minus the property itself. Immediately, you will notice the age being calculated and displayed in each row. We can also use a more dynamic formula that will take the current year instead of a hard-coded one. And then all can be sorted by this age property. Let's create one more property. Let's add the dollar symbol in front of each price. Go to Properties, Add Formula, name this new property, then in the formula field type this formula. This formula instructs Obsidian to display the dollar sign if there is a price mentioned for the entry. If not, an empty string is going to be displayed instead. Let's say we remove the price from one entry. Then nothing will be displayed in the respective location like it was mentioned in the formula. Next, how to display the database as cards instead of table rows and have a more visual representation. Initially, a folder that stores the images needs to be mentioned in Obsidian for this specific vault. So go to Settings, Files and Links, look for the default location for new attachments, select the option in subfolder under current folder, name this folder Images, and create this folder in the vault under Cars. Once you add images in this folder using your File Explorer, they will be available as suggestions. So click on the image value in each entry and select the respective image. Images will be available as suggestions because you already mentioned the folder in Settings to be used as a default location for these resources. Now navigate back to the database file, then go to the Table View option, click on Add View, name it Cards, then select as layout Cards. The image fit, we will keep it to Contain. But what do these two options mean? Cover means that the image fills the card's content box, and if it does not fit, the image will be cropped. And Contain means that the image is scaled until it fits within the card's content box, so the image will not be cropped. For me, it was quite confusing at first to make this work, but I'll try to provide you with the solution I found. Let's choose a property to be used as a visual representation. So go to this image property and select Image from the list. You'll notice that we are getting there, but not quite yet. Some more tweaks are required. If I display this file extension, we can see how this view displays all the files in the vault, so some filtering is needed. Go to Filter, select Where File in Folder, and select Cars. This way, we filter out all the files existing outside of the current folder. For instance, the templates folder is filtered out. Now add one more filter where file extension is Markdown. So practically, we only display our notes, hiding everything else. Our cars view takes care of displaying images for each of these entries, as an image property has been chosen as the visual representation. And each image property has already a link value in each of these entries. Now let's make this view more interesting by selecting the properties we want to show for each of these cards. For instance, let's display the company, the model, the year, and the price. And this is how you can display each entry as cards. Quite a nice visual representation in Obsidian. Clicking on each entry will redirect to that specific information. Before ending the video, I want to show you one more thing. Let's suppose you already have a note created about a car, and you already took some notes about this car, and you'd like to add later some properties. If you try to bring up the YAML interface for adding properties, this will not work if you type the 3 dashes at the end of the file. It will just draw a line after pressing enter. To add properties, you need to always trigger the YAML interface at the top of the file. Right now, this is a new property outside of your template. And if you go to the database, you will notice this entry, but without any of the information required previously. You can fix this by opening the command panel, find the Insert Template option, and select your template. This will append all the other template properties by also keeping the custom property previously added. And then you can fill in the details further. So this is in a nutshell how you can use the database in Obsidian. From here on, you can use this example to extend it to any type of information you would like to have. Thank you for watching.